Christmas at my parents' house was supposed to be magical. But instead, it turned into the moment I finally realized just how conditional their love really was. See, my parents never gave anything freely. Affection, praise, even the smallest scrap of kindness, there were always strings attached. And this year, those strings were tied around my kids' Christmas gifts. A week before the holiday, my mother called me with that fake sweet tone she uses when she's about to drop something cruel. "If you help us more, then the children will get gifts," she said. Like she was offering me a deal. A bargain. My kids' happiness in exchange for more money. Last year, I'd been sending them $2,000 a month. Not because they needed it, they didn't. The mortgage was long paid off, my dad still worked part-time, and they had no debts. But they had this way of twisting things, making me feel like I owed them. Like financially supporting them was just part of being their son. And I went along with it. I never even questioned it. Until this year. Life hit my family with some unexpected expenses, and we couldn't afford to send them the same amount anymore. I cut it down to $1,000 a month, still more than generous, I thought. But to them? That wasn't enough. A week later, Mom called again. "What about Christmas presents?" she asked, as if she were just making small talk. But I knew better. I asked her straight out, "You're not buying them presents?" Her answer cut deep. "Well, Ethan, we have to be fair. Last year you gave more, and this year, we just can't afford to be as generous. You understand, right? Fair." That's what she called it. But the truth was clear, my kids were going to be punished because I didn't send enough money. And the kicker? My sister Olivia, the golden child, hadn't sent them a single dime. Not one. But her 4 children? Oh, they always got the royal treatment. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. "So let me get this straight. You're buying gifts for Olivia's kids, but not mine, because I gave you less this year." She sighed, like I was the one being difficult. "Ethan, it's nothing personal. It's just the way things worked out. Maybe if things get better next year." I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. When I told my wife Claire, her eyes widened. They wouldn't actually do that, not to the kids. It's Christmas. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. We had already promised to spend the holiday with them, and part of me hoped Mom and Dad were just bluffing. Maybe they'd guilt-trip me a little, but surely they wouldn't actually let their grandchildren sit empty-handed on Christmas morning, right? I was wrong. When we arrived, everything looked picture-perfect. The smell of cinnamon and pine filled the air. The tree sparkled. My parents greeted us with big smiles, like nothing was wrong. Olivia was already there, sipping her coffee while her kids tore into shiny boxes stacked under the tree. Wrapping paper flew, toys beeped, and Grandma and Grandpa stood by looking so proud. My children, Lily and Noah, ran to the tree with their little faces lit up like stars. They searched eagerly, hands brushing over every box. And then, their smiles faltered. Their hands slowed. Because there was nothing for them. Not a single present. Something inside me snapped tight, like a rope pulling at my chest. Claire shot me a look, her face unreadable, but her eyes told me everything. She was devastated. My mom leaned in, whispering as if she were being sensitive. "We weren't going to say anything in front of the kids, but you understand, right? Things are just different this year." I stared at her. My voice shook, but I kept it low. "Are you serious? You really didn't get them anything?" My dad shrugged and turned back to his coffee like I was the one being unreasonable. "Let's not make a scene. It's Christmas." Behind me, Lily tugged at my sleeve. "Daddy, where are our presents?" I swallowed hard, fighting back the rage, the humiliation, the grief. I forced a smile. "They left them at home, sweetheart. It's okay. We'll have presents later." Her little brow furrowed. Noah's lip trembled. Claire bent down to comfort them, whispering something soft, trying to shield them from this cruelty. I turned back to my parents, my voice steady now, but final. "We're leaving." Mom gasped. "Ethan, don't be ridiculous." But I was done. I gathered up my kids, and Claire and I walked out as my mother's voice chased us down the driveway. I didn't look back. In the car, the silence was crushing. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles burned. Lily stared out the window. Noah clutched his stuffed dinosaur. Neither of them said a word. And that silence hurt worse than anything my parents could have said. Halfway down the road, my phone lit up. "Mom." I ignored it. Then Dad. Then Olivia. Claire sighed. "They're not going to let this go." I pulled into an old diner from my childhood. The kind with red booths and a little Christmas tree in the corner. We slid into a booth, and Claire, determined to make this day better, forced a smile. "All right, kids. Christmas pancakes. Extra whipped cream." Noah nodded, but Lily just stirred her hot chocolate. My heart cracked. And then, my phone rang again. This time it was Dad. I picked up. His voice was sharp. "You embarrassed your mother. Walking out like that? That was cruel." I let out a bitter laugh. "Cruel? You think I'm cruel? You sat there and let my children watch their cousins open gifts, knowing they had nothing waiting for them, and I'm the bad guy." He sighed. "Ethan, it wasn't about the money." I cut him off. "Then what the hell was it about?" "Because it sure wasn't about love." There was silence. Then, finally, his weak excuse, "We didn't think they'd notice." I nearly smashed my phone against the wall. Claire must have seen my face, because she reached across the table and took my hand. Her touch kept me grounded. I lowered my voice. "We're done here, Dad. Don't call me again." Then I hung up. Hours later, after trying to salvage Christmas with pancakes, a couple of small presents we had hidden away, and a cozy movie night at home, there was a knock at the door. I opened it. and there stood my mother. She clutched a bag, looking uncomfortable. I brought presents for the kids. I didn't move. Oh, you have presents now? What changed? She shifted, eyes darting away. Your sister said you overreacted. But maybe we made a mistake. Claire appeared behind me, arms crossed. You think? Mom exhaled, clearly wanting to argue, but held out the bag instead. I took it, opened it, and my heart sank. Inside were cheap, last-minute toys. A plastic doll. A little car. No wrapping paper. No thought. They looked like they'd been grabbed from a gas station on her way over. Lily peeked over my shoulder. Daddy, what is it? I turned to her with a forced smile. Nothing, sweetheart. Then I looked my mother in the eye. You're not sorry. You just didn't like how it looked when we left. Her lips pressed thin. She wanted to fight, but for once, she didn't. She turned and walked away. I shut the door, feeling Claire's arm slip around me. Inside, Lily and Noah were laughing again, playing with the gifts we had given them earlier. And right then, I realized, this was our real family. The four of us. And I wasn't going to let my parents ruin another holiday. The next morning, I woke up with a kind of clarity I hadn't felt in years. It was like the fog had finally lifted. I sat at the kitchen table, my coffee turning cold, scrolling through the flood of messages on my phone. Mom had blown up my inbox overnight, half of them dripping with fake concern, the other half laced with guilt. My dad? Just one line, let's not make any rash decisions. They thought I was bluffing. I wasn't. I dialed my mom's number. She picked up instantly, her voice way too cheerful for someone I'd just had a massive fight with. Ethan, I knew you'd come to your senses. Now let's talk about this little misunderstanding. I cut her off. There's nothing to talk about. I just wanted you to hear it from me, I'm not sending you any more money. Silence. Then, laughter. She actually laughed. Oh, Ethan, don't be silly. Of course you're still going to help us. That's what family does. I gripped my coffee cup, my knuckles white. Funny. I thought family was about love and support, not about punishing your own grandchildren over money. Her tone snapped like a whip. You're still upset about this? You're overreacting. No, I said flatly. I've been underreacting for years. She scoffed, sharp and dismissive. So this is your punishment? Cutting us off over a few presents? That's when my dad jumped in, his voice dripping with fake calm. Ethan, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're family. You wouldn't do this to your own parents. I didn't even hesitate. I would. And I just did. Dead silence. Then Mom's voice cracked, full of venom. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? I laughed bitterly. Everything you've done for me? Like guilting me into giving you thousands of dollars while Olivia does nothing, and still gets treated like royalty. That's different. Mom snapped. Yeah, I said coldly. It really is. And I hung up. At first, they didn't believe me. A week passed. Then two. No calls, no texts. I knew they were waiting for me to crawl back, to beg forgiveness, to throw more money at them just to make things right. But I didn't. And that's when the messages started. First, little guilt trips, we never thought our own son would let us down. Then the sob stories, I guess we'll have to start selling things just to make ends meet. Which was complete garbage. They had retirement savings. Dad still worked part-time. Their house was paid off. They weren't struggling, they just hated losing control. And when they realized I wasn't caving, that's when things turned ugly. One morning, I woke up to nearly 20 missed calls from my sister. Before I could even process it, my doorbell rang. I opened the door. And there she was. Olivia. Arms crossed, face tight with fury. You need to fix this, she said, shoving her way into my house without even waiting for an invitation. She didn't glance at Claire, who was on the couch with the kids. She just zeroed in on me, like I was the only person in the room. Mom's a mess. Dad's furious. They keep saying you abandoned them, and honestly, it's kind of messed up. They're old, Ethan. They need you. I scoffed. Mom's 56, not 86. She's got more energy than I do. Olivia rolled her eyes. Doesn't matter. They're still our parents. You know Mom's been sick lately, right? That made me pause. Sick? She lowered her voice, all dramatic, like she was revealing some tragic secret. Yeah. Blood pressure, stress, she's barely sleeping. She's been crying nonstop. And now, with you cutting them off, it's making her worse. Do you really want to be the reason something happens to her? I'll admit it hit me for a second. Guilt, sharp and heavy. But then, I saw it. That little smirk at the corner of her mouth. She was enjoying this. I exhaled slowly. Wow, you almost had me there. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means I've seen this play before. They don't get their way, and suddenly Mom's sick. And conveniently, the only cure is my wallet. She crossed her arms tighter. So you really don't care if something happens to her? My jaw clenched. No, Olivia. I do care. But what I don't care about is being manipulated. If Mom is really sick, she can go see a doctor. And guess what? She has insurance. You know, because I helped pay for it. Her face twisted, frustration spilling out. You're being impossible. No, I said, opening the front door wide. I'm just done playing this game. You can go now. She stared at me, disbelief all over her face. Then she scoffed, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. I locked the door behind her. When I turned, Claire was watching me, eyes steady, lips curved in a proud little smile. That felt good, I admitted. It looked good too, she said softly. And it did. But deep down, I knew, this wasn't over. Because if my parents were desperate enough to fake an illness, they'd try something even worse next. I knew my parents wouldn't quit. They never did. And sure enough, a few days after Olivia's failed guilt trip, my phone lit up with Mom's name. I almost let it go to voicemail, almost. But curiosity got the best of me. I answered. No hello, no pause, just her panicked voice. Ethan, your father fell down the stairs. I blinked, rubbed my temple. What? She sniffled dramatically. He was going to get the mail and he just lost his balance. It was awful. He's in so much pain, and I don't know how we're going to manage if this keeps happening. My stomach sank, but not from worry. From deja vu, is he in the hospital? Pause. Then, no, he didn't need the hospital. He's just resting. But Ethan, this is exactly what I was talking about. We're getting older. We need support. We need you. I ran a hand down my face, exhaling. Mom, Dad is 60. He plays golf every weekend. He's fine. Her voice wavered. You don't believe me. I believe he might have tripped, I said slowly. What I don't believe is that suddenly, right after I cut you off, he's too frail to function. She let out a shaky breath. I didn't want to say this, but I don't think we can keep the house. I almost laughed. You own it outright. But the bills, Ethan, she whined. The maintenance, the repairs, the taxes. Then sell it, I snapped flatly. Silence. Then a whisper, brittle and wounded. I can't believe you just said that. You mean you can't believe you didn't get what you wanted, I shot back. Her tone hardened instantly. Fine. Be cruel. Be heartless. But don't expect us to be there for you when you need family. I smirked. Like how you were there for my kids on Christmas? Click. She hung up. For a while after that, it was blissfully quiet. No calls, no texts. I actually started to feel free. Until one night, Claire nudged me while scrolling Facebook. You might want to see this. There it was. My mom's newest performance. It's devastating when your own child turns on you after everything we've sacrificed. After all the love we've given, we're left abandoned. Growing old is terrifying when the people you raise decide you're no longer worth their time. I never thought I'd know this kind of heartbreak. And of course, the comments rolled in. Oh sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Some kids are just ungrateful. And then Olivia chimed in. I tried talking to him, Mom. He just doesn't care. I don't even know who he is anymore. I let out a short, bitter laugh. They're really doing this. Claire rolled her eyes. Of course they are. They love being the victims now that you won't play their game. I cracked my knuckles, opened the comment box, and typed. Interesting. Didn't see the same energy when you ignored your grandkids on Christmas because I didn't send enough money. But sure, play the victim. Hope it gets you the sympathy cash you're actually looking for. Hit send. Within minutes, the entire post disappeared. Deleted. For the first time in years, I felt light. No guilt. No leash. Just peace. And with that peace, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I chose my family first. Claire and I had been driving the same beat-up SUV forever. We kept putting off replacing it. There was always something, unexpected bills, kids' activities, or more often than not, funneling money to my parents. But not anymore. So I bought us a car. Not just a car. A fully loaded, top-tier SUV. Safe for the kids, reliable for road trips, and honestly, something that made me feel proud. Claire and I had worked hard, and for once, we were going to enjoy it. I posted a picture online without a second thought. Caption, Merry late Christmas to us. Can't wait for new adventures. I didn't even think about my parents when I hit post. But oh, they thought about me. Less than an hour later, my phone rang. Mom. I almost ignored it. Almost. But I answered. Her voice was sharp, dripping with venom. Are you kidding me? A brand new car? And you're telling us you can't afford to help your own parents? I smirked. There it is. Mom, you don't need my help. You just don't like that I finally stopped letting you take advantage of me. Her voice sharpened to a blade. We gave you everything growing up. The least you can do is support us now that we're getting older. You're 56, I said flatly. You don't need support. You need boundaries. That lit the fuse. So you have money for luxury, but not for your own parents? I laughed, bitter and sharp. That's rich. I'm selfish? You let my kids sit there on Christmas morning with nothing, while their cousins ripped open gift after gift, because I didn't send you enough money. You weaponized Christmas to punish children. And now you're mad because I finally chose my family over you. Her voice dropped, quiet, calculated. You've changed. I don't even recognize you anymore. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. You mean I stopped being someone you could control? Yeah. I guess I did change. Silence. Then her final trick, the old favorite, victim mode. Well, if this is how you really feel about your family, I guess we have nothing left to say to each other. I smirked. Guess not. And then I hung up. I honestly thought it was over. After that last call, I was sure I'd finally closed the book on their manipulations. But 3 days later, my phone buzzed. Olivia. I almost didn't answer, but something in me knew she wouldn't call without a performance. I picked up. Her voice came through, dripping with smugness and passive aggression. Just thought you should know? Mom and Dad updated their will. I frowned. Okay? She let out this dramatic sigh, like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. They removed you, Ethan. You and your kids. Everything's going to me now. I had to stifle a laugh. I actually put a hand over my mouth because the absurdity of it nearly made me burst out. Olivia, I said, chuckling. I don't want anything from them. There was silence on the other end. I swear I could hear the gears grinding in her head, like she didn't even know how to respond. You, what? I laughed again, shaking my head. You think I care about their money? Keep it. Enjoy it. Have fun dealing with them when they actually do get old and start demanding your help. You're going to regret this." Her tone snapped sharp, defensive. "Pretty sure I won't." "We'll see," I said simply, and hung up. And that was the last time I heard from any of them. No more calls. No more texts. No fake emergencies. No guilt trips. They thought they were punishing me by cutting me out of their will. But in reality, they handed me the greatest gift of all: freedom.